Okay, I'm addicted. I have to say, I absolutely love shorts, as in the shorts you see on YouTube. They are fascinating. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, January the 22nd, 2024. And it is vlog number 346. And I still haven't come down off the cloud of having 10,000, but let's not talk about that. Well, we are going to talk a little bit about that, but later on. Let's jump into what I've been working on because I have been doing a few things. Now, if you saw Walter or Stephen and Walter live yesterday, you saw this, but it was a bad picture. It was a picture I took before I had it quilted and bound, and now it is quilted and bound. And this is the quilt that is my own design, and I have written the pattern for it. And we talked about that yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, and we will talk about it as well on Idiot Quilter tomorrow. So I'm not going to dwell on it right now, but to tell you that the title of this quilt is When Stars Collide. Little horse here. Moving on. Now, this is one that came from a Shannon Way of Slay Arts. Went to hers and Stephanie's retreat a weekend ago, and we worked on a paper piecing pattern and that Shannon taught us and designed, and that's the centerpiece of this quilt. So I built this quilt around it, and I call it Shannon's Way in honor of the creator of the centerpiece. And of course, I'm working right now on Stephanie's Stars, her Winter Blues block. I've decided not to do it as a wall hanging, but to do it as a full-size quilt. So I'm making all of her blocks in different colors, blue, yellow, red, green, and the ones that are coming up looking a little like they're black, well, they do have black in them. They also have all of those other colors in the pattern that's printed on the fabric as well. So yeah, I'm still working on this. I enjoy Stephanie's patterns, and I'm going to say more about what I have planned for this again tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. So you might be thinking, hey, why do you talk about these quilts and then just leave us hanging? Well, there is method to my madness. It's a teaser for what I talk about on IQ because, and this is more for the new people that have recently joined my channel, my vlog deals with a variety of things that are happening in my life, and quilting is only part of what I do. There are other things I do too, and so this is a chance for me on the vlog to catch you up on other things in my life that aren't necessarily related to quilting, although I think all roads lead to quilting for me. Okay, I need a little bit of this because I'm a little hoarse this morning. Don't know what the problem is there. Okay, so moving on to the channel of the week. Now, this is a funny channel, although when you first watch it, you're maybe not sure if it's supposed to be comedy. It is put out by a comedian. I've never heard of him before. He goes by the name of Matteo Lane, and he talks about all kinds of different things in life. But I especially like this one because, well, it deals with the craft store Michaels. And when I was a paper crafter, that was my second home. I lived in a Michaels, pretty much. I mean, I had a love-hate love-hate relationship, not only in my throat, but my lips. Yeah, with Michaels because, well, you know, if you didn't have the coupon, you couldn't afford anything in there. And the coupon's what drew you into the store in the first place. And of course, you always end up buying more. And it was the best place close to me next to a really great little store that's in another part of the city I live in called Class Act. Shout out to them because they're still going, that had scrapbooking supplies. So the things that this guy says in this video are hilarious. And if you are someone who has ever been to a Michael's or even a Joann's, because it could apply to a Joann's too, you're going to find this really humorous. But here's my review of that particular YouTube video. This week's YouTube video is one that's close to my heart because I used to spend a lot of time at this particular place, and that's Michael's. When I was a paper crafter, I used to be at Michael's all the time buying my supplies. And anybody who's ever dealt with Michael's or even a Joann's, because they're both kind of the same type of place, have a love-hate relationship with them. I mean, they have the things that we want, but the prices are usually way too inflated. And of course, unless you have the coupon, you're really not getting any deals. Well, I came across this particular YouTube creator called Matteo Lane, and he is hilarious. He talks about what Michael's is all about when he used to work for Michael's. In fact, he got fired from Michael's when he was a teenager because he stole a Winnie the Pooh cake pan. But he talks about that and much more. And I just found him very, very funny. He's very eccentric, very out there in his comedy. But a lot of the things that he talks about with Michael's, I think many of us can identify with. So if you want a bit of a laugh, if you're a crafter or a quilter, and you know all about Michael's, then you're going to want to check out this particular video called Matteo Lane Spills the Tea About Michael's. So the link for that is in the resource notes, in the show notes. You'll find my contact information in there as well. Now, lately, I've had a couple of people who have had a problem sending me an email. I did double check the link, and it is correct. But what happens a lot of times, and it's very easy to do, when people are spelling my name has an N in it. Like I'm not Steve Bland, I'm Stephen Bland. I know, sounds a bit snotty, doesn't it? But I am. I'm Stephen Bland, so Steven. And sometimes when people are typing fast, they miss the N. The other problem could be, and this is a rare problem, but it has happened in the past, some providers, internet providers, don't like my what do you call it? The at part of the email address for some reason. They think it's either spam or it's a fake. I don't know why, because that's comes from one of our major internet providers, Bell Canada. So Simpatico has been around for a long time. But that could be the case as well. So just make sure you've got it typed properly. And if you send me an email and it bounces back to you or whatever, then you might want to look into your provider. There may be a place in your email where you can put in the email address and call it a safe one. So your system, when it checks, it knows that's okay. We can send that one out. I don't know. They all work a little different, don't they? So there's a link for Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. We have that every Wednesday starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay. Now, here's another thing that I've been finding. And again, this is for maybe some of the new people. I live in the Eastern Time Zone. I'm in Ontario, Canada. Okay. Any times that I quote to you are always in Eastern Time, my time. But you may be in a different time zone. So you may not be clear on how much difference there is between your time and my time. What's the best way to solve that problem? Google it. If you want to find out what time it is, if I say 9 a.m. Eastern Time, just go to Google and say, what time is 9 a.m. in my time zone? Okay. And you'll probably get a chart or something, or it'll just come up and tell you that. That's the best way to make sure, because people ask me all the time, well, what time is that Central, Western, Australian, whatever? I have no idea. I can figure it out, but why? You can figure it out too. Kind of like when I used to teach school. If I gave the answer to the kids for everything, they would never learn anything. If I made them find the answer for it, it would stick in their memory. Can't take the teacher out of the teacher. Okay. So There is another link though in there, and so I hope you'll check it out. I talked yesterday about the 10,000 bash, which is the special event I'm having in honor of getting over 10,000 subscribers. And I did a lot of explaining on how that's going to work. I don't want to explain it again, so I made a video. And the video explains everything about it, how you pre-register for it, because you do have to pre-register, and what's involved. And in the show notes to that video as well, everything I say in that video is all written out in the show notes. So you could just copy and paste that to a Word document or whatever you use as your documentation system, and use it as a, reminder of how things work. It's all there for you. So please, if you haven't already, that video has gone live as I speak right now. Just check that out. Okay, and then there's all my friends' channels that are there. A couple of shout outs here to my friends, to Stephanie Stitches. She is very, very close to 20,000 subscribers. I thought 10 blew my mind. 20,000? And she wants to do something special too. And she and I have both been speaking back and forth about that. And I think we're going to come up with something fun there as well, to honor that. And she's very, very close. She's under, I believe, under 200 subscribers for that. And that is a huge milestone. Russ of Quilt Meets World and Shannon of Slay Arts are both approaching very quickly their 1,000 subscriber mark. So please, if you have not checked their channels out, click on the links in the show notes. Check them out. You won't be disappointed. And subscribe to them. Help them out as well. The whole point of having subscribers is that it shows the algorithms in YouTube that we are all worthy of their notice. And if they give us notice, you get notice. And other people out there that have never heard of us get notice as well. So that's why all YouTube creators around constantly ask you to subscribe. And speaking of which, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. Please do. It costs you nothing. And it means the world to us creators. Okay, and what else will you find? Last week's videos are linked there. And yeah, so I know the big topic of discussion these days has been the weather, and it's no different where I live. Let me just find the right thing here that I want. Yeah. So what's the weather here in my place? Well, it is not as cold as it is in some parts of North America. Yes, I live in Canada, and you'd expect it to be very cold, but in the part of Canada that I live in, if you look at the little weather map over here in the blue, you see the number 14? Well, that's approximately where I live. Okay, that's on top of Toronto right there. I'm just east of Toronto. So this weather report is what we're experiencing right now at this moment. It is minus 8 degrees C. That's about 14 degrees Fahrenheit, in around there. It's funny because over here on the left-hand side, it says 8 degrees where I am, but Toronto's colder, or Toronto is warmer at minus 4. That all has to do with the fact that we live on a huge body of water, Lake Ontario. And I tell you that for people who are more into the southern United States, because your weather, of course, is totally different than ours, and you may not realize what those big bodies of water do to us, because they do play an important part in southern Ontario to our weather. So today's forecast said the low was going to be minus 9, high of minus 1, so we're still below freezing. Tuesday we're getting snow, 70% chance it says. Well, it is winter. Wednesday, it looks like that's going to become rain, and it is getting warmer as the week goes on. So by Friday, we're up to a balmy 5 degrees C, which is about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Then we start to drop again, and by this time next week, we're starting to go below 0. So it says now, but you know the weather, it changes a lot. But I can show you what it looks like outside right at the moment. Let me get rid of that and let me go here. And this is from my Ring camera. I took it about 10 minutes ago. And can I blow it up a little bit for you? There we go. A little pixely, but that gives you the idea of what we're looking at. We do not have a lot of snow. And we're heading towards the tail end of January. Not unusual, but it's one of those kind of things where you start to go, okay, when's the big blast coming? Because there will be a big blast, and you just hope it doesn't happen at Easter or into April. And it could. It could. That's what the weather's like across this country of ours. It's very varied, but at the same time, yeah, you really don't stop worrying about snow until July. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not that much. I don't believe I ever have known a time when we had snow in July, but I do remember having snow in the middle of May and possibly towards June. But anyways, that's what it looks like. The sun is coming up, and yeah. So it looked, according to that forecast, like we're going to have a nice bright day, cold but bright, and that's okay. That's nice. As we need as much light as we can possibly get this time of the year, don't we? Because if not, up here in the northern hemisphere, especially in Canada, the days are very dark for a long time. And that's when SAD, seasonal. I know someone's going to tell me what this is, and somebody has before, and I always forget. Um, it's called SAD. It basically, the lack of sunlight sort of plays with your moods, right? I guess you can get lights for that. Sit around with these little lights shining on you. I don't know. I think the best way to avoid SAD is to keep yourself busy. And I have no problem doing that. Okay, enough about the weather. Let's talk about what's pissing me off. Nothing. Nothing. Can you believe it? Because I am so filled with the excitement of having 10,000 subscribers. When I started my channel, it started off with a 7-minute video 12 years ago. I had just retired. I was a little bit lost into what am I going to do. I mean, when I was teaching school, in my last year of teaching school, I had a journal. They called it a smash journal. It was the thing at the time. And I was still a paper crafter and scrapbooker, so this appealed to me. And it was a journal where you had little stickers and little fancy little pieces of notepaper and stuff, and you smashed them into the journal, and it was kind of fun. It was kind of useless, but it was kind of fun. But I started dividing it up into sections, and with things sort of a vision board in a book. What was I going to do when I retired? And I had lots of plans. I was going to take courses, just general interest courses. I was going to join the Senior Citizen Center in my town and do things there. I was going to be a volunteer. I was going to continue to work on my paper crafting skills. I didn't know anything about quilting at that time. I had no desire. Didn't even own a sewing machine. I had all kinds of things I was going to do. And then when the reality of retirement sets in, and for me as a teacher, it really didn't set in until the end of the summer. I retired at the end of June. Then it's summer holidays in the school system. And then it was the first day in September, that after Labor Day, when everybody was going back to school, and I wasn't. And I felt like a fish out of water. I mean, after all, I had been teaching for 31 years. That's all I ever knew of life. So it was really, really strange. I even played with the idea of supply teaching, which I told people I would never, ever do. And I'm very proud to this day to say that I have never, ever done that. And just as a side note, one of the reasons why I didn't want to be a supply teacher is because at that point in time when I retired, teaching jobs were scarce. Young people coming out of teachers' college were having a very difficult time finding a job. And by being a supply teacher in the supply teacher pool, as an experienced teacher, I would get probably called first before some of these young teachers who were looking for more permanent work, but in the meantime were doing temporary teaching. weren't getting, I was taking jobs away from them. I had a pension. I have a pension. I didn't need to take a job away from somebody else. So I never did supply teach, but I came close to thinking about it. Um, so I didn't know what to do with myself. I did volunteer. Those things didn't work out for a variety of reasons. I've learned a lot about what happens when you volunteer. But that's something I have talked about in the past, and maybe I'll talk about that again in the future. But right now, I'm not going to bother. So I was drifting. I even got a part-time job in my local craft store, which was fine, but I was basically had the job to afford my habit because, my boss would give me a paycheck and I would hand back that paycheck plus a little extra because everything that came into the store that was new, I wanted and I bought it. So, yeah, I didn't really know what to do with myself. Well, I had been watching YouTube videos since about 2006 at that point in time, and I thought, maybe I'll give this a try. I wonder how hard it is to set up a channel. So I did. I set up Bland Designs. Why did I call it Bland Designs? Because at that point in time, I was doing art journaling and bookmaking, album making, things like that, scrapbooking, all of those things. And I just used my last name and called it Bland Designs. And I thought it was a bit of tongue in cheek because, the meaning of the word bland, right? So, anyways, my first video was done with an iPad. It was a 7.5 minute little rant, basically kind of the kind of things I do on here. Just very short. I didn't have any lighting. I didn't have a microphone. I was using the built-in microphone in the iPad, and that hooked me. I put it up. I got a few views, not much. And I thought, well, maybe I should hook up my iPhone or my iPad in such a way that I can show what I'm working on, show my crafts and things like that. So those were, for the first few years, that's what I did. And it grew from there. I got a little better equipment. I still to this day have not spent a lot of money on equipment. Maybe it shows, maybe it doesn't. Just goes to show you, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you can do it with an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone, whatever you got. You don't need expensive equipment. I have since then invested into microphones that are decent, but still, in total, my equipment, not counting my computers for all this, is only a couple of $100, really, for it. I sometimes think I should invest in, really cool equipment, but if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? So I did that. And then I got thinking about, see if I could get Walter involved. Now, sometimes I'd have Walter, do a little craft with me here and there, but nothing major. He really didn't want to be involved at all. But I finally talked him into it one day. And so we set up the iPhone on a little mini tripod on our kitchen counter, pulled out a couple of our counter stools, grabbed a smart cocktail kind of a thing, and sat there and blabbered. And that's how Stephen and Walter Live was born, because we started to do that on a more regular basis, and it was done for the first few years just from the kitchen counter, and then we moved it down here into my sewing room, which was my craft room at that point in time, and started doing what you see today in Stephen and Walter Live. And of course, I turned Walter into a real monster. For someone who didn't want to do that, now, yeah, well, if you've watched Stephen and Walter Live, he's there. And he's not there under duress, people. I can tell you that. So that started to develop. And then I discovered the world of quilting. And I thought, okay, I'm watching a lot of videos on YouTube about quilting. And the one thing that really gets my goat is that I'm not seeing anybody making mistakes. Everybody's showing very perfect pieces. And that's intimidating. And anybody who's just got into quilting, or for that matter, anybody who watches YouTube videos on how to do this and that and have never done it before, a lot of times it's intimidating because you think, well, God, mine's not going to look like that. I had this problem, and those problems are not always addressed. So I decided I was going to show my mistakes and how I got around them, or what I learned from those mistakes. And that was how the Idiot Quilter was born. Now, you might wonder about the name Idiot Quilter, and I've had more than one person over time get really upset with me because I call myself an idiot. Well, it's tongue in cheek. Don't take it too seriously. The reason I call myself the Idiot Quilter, well, first reason is the one I just gave you, because I make idiot mistakes, and I still do. Okay? And if you're a regular subscriber, you know about that. But the other thing is that Walter calls me an idiot. Now you're going to say, oh, that's horrible of him. What kind of relationship do you have that he calls you that? It's tongue in cheek. I don't get too upset about it. It's a joke between the two of us. You see, I'm like Lucy, as in Lucille Ball. You know, the old I Love Lucy show. And Lucy always got herself into some kind of mischief and always had to go crying off to Ricky, right, to fix it. Well, I'm kind of Lucy. I do this a lot. I pull Lucy moves. But Walter doesn't call me Lucy. He calls me, well, he says, when I say to him, uh-oh, I made a boo-boo. I shouldn't have done that. And he goes, well, you're an idiot. So it's a joke between the two of us. So I thought, yeah, perfect title for the channel, Idiot Quilter. So it's Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, mainly because Idiot Quilter started off as a separate channel altogether. I combined the two channels because I thought it would be more efficient doing it that way. But I didn't want to get rid of Bland Designs in the title because that's what a lot of people knew me as at that point in time, because that had been around for quite a while. So that's why the full title of my channel is Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, but you'll hear me most of the time refer to myself as the Idiot Quilter, as you can see by the banners behind my head up above. So that's the story, but it took me 12 years to get 10,000 subscribers. And it's not all about the subscribers. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I have to admit, my ego has just been blowing up this week. And I'm basking in that because I know it's not going to last. It's going to slow down, okay? But it does give me a thrill. And the reason it gives me the thrill is because it's like I said on Stephen Walter Live, it's like, Sally Fields, you love me. You really, really love me. It's nice to know that people appreciate what I'm doing. This takes time, this takes effort, but it's fun. It's a hobby for me. I don't do it as a business. Some YouTube creators do, and that's just fine and dandy. I don't edit very much, and that's apparent. And basically what you see is what you get. This is me. This is not a persona. This is who I am. And, you know, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I don't really have a great filter. And I know I offend people at times. I don't intentionally want to offend people, but that's that Lucy in me. I put my foot in my mouth. And, well, I'm an old dog and you can't teach me new tricks. Best thing I can say is if you're not happy with my content, if you're not happy with me, you don't have to watch me. There's billions of YouTube channels out there. Go to another one that suits your tastes. I do. I don't watch everybody. If I find a new YouTube channel and it is not my cup of tea for whatever reason, I leave and I don't come back. Because, yeah, why waste my time on something that doesn't appeal to me? So, having over 10,000 subscribers says there are 10,000 of you out there that I appeal to. And that makes me very happy. Although I do know some of you just watch it to see if you can get a glimpse of Walter. He has his own fan club. I'm not jealous much about that. But anyways, so that's what I'm talking about today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You really have no idea, unless you are a YouTube creator yourself, what it means to hit that milestone number. Okay, enough about that. I might cry. I won't. Okay, new products. Well, nothing really to show you. well, do I have a picture of this? I don't think I do. Um, but I'm going to talk about this tomorrow in more detail anyways, because it has to do with quilting. I bought more filament for my 3D printers because I am madly making things to take to the Georgia retreat at Christmas time this year. Yes, I know, this is January. It's 11 and some odd weeks until that event. Yes, it is, but I like to plan ahead. And also printing things on 3D printer, the things I'm printing right now, each one of them takes a couple of days to print. So yeah, but I bought more filament and I bought a great book and I'm going to talk about it in detail tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. It's for quilters. It's called Quilt Block of the Day 2023 by Carol A. Thielen. I think it's Thielen. But as I said, more about that tomorrow on the episode of the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to the good old grow lights, and things are looking still a little on the sad side. Let me see if I can find my pictures here for you to show you what I mean. And yeah. Okay, now in this particular picture, it doesn't look bad. That's lettuce. And of course, the little yellow sticky thing, as you know, we have a little gnat problem come out of the soil. Walter just found out something that you can do, treat the soil with that will hopefully kill them. Those little leaves that are down below are more lettuce coming up because Walter planted more. Lettuce grows very well under the grow lights. And we eat it all the time. That's why we don't have much there. And we have another batch of it here, but we need more. And he's got some more coming up in this pot. This pot we need to get going with something. The other green leafy looking thing behind it is our basil. I throw basil into everything that I make because we have a lot of basil. It just keeps coming on. It grows very well in the grow lights as well. Although we got a few here that are getting a little funny colored. So yeah, it might be time to plant some fresh basil. Our onions are doing fantastic. Look at the size of those suckers. And it's great to have like fresh onions. They take a while to grow, but they seem to like the grow lights as well. Unfortunately, the tomatoes in the background here, now they do have flowers, but I bought a different variety and I knew that this is a Lucy move. It said that these were great in hanging baskets. Well, I thought, yeah, so I'm not putting them in hanging baskets. Well, they don't support themselves. They're all drooped over. So we may have to put cages or something around them, stake them up. But they do have flowers. And if they have flowers, that means they'll have tomatoes. But they take a long time. So I don't think we're going to have any tomatoes, if we get any tomatoes on them, for quite a bit of time now. In the meantime, we're out of peppers, and Walter has started peppers. And these are his little pepper plants right here. Peppers take about, from what I've read, I think they take about 80 days to get to maturity. So yeah, these are going to take a while. Of course, funny thing is too about growing stuff under the lights, it may be several weeks and you'll see little green things like this, and then suddenly one morning you wake up and it's like Jack and the Beanstalk. They just go poop, and there you've got a nice full grown plant. So yeah, that's the grow light situation. We're still carrying on with it. I love it. I love it because when we've got stuff that's all planted in and coming up, it looks very nice. And in the wintertime, it's nice to have something really fresh and green in your house as well. It does something to your spirits. Okay, so that takes me, things that also get me excited is my 3D prints. Well, I've got nothing really to show you because I showed it to you last week. I'm making some fancy ruler racks and a box for holding your patterns. These are going to be gifts at Christmas time. And they, of course, have my signature little gnomes on them as well, because what doesn't have a gnome on it in this house? Okay, so we carry on with another Blast from the Past trip. This is part 2 of Victor Harbor in Australia, which was February the 14th. It was Valentine's Day when we were there last. And just as a side note, yes, Walter is working on plans for our next Australian adventure, which is going to be towards the tail end of March. And I'm getting a little excited about that. I'm not excited about the plane trip there because, it's long, but we love Australia. And yeah, so more about that and more about our plans for that once my travel agent, i.e., Walter, uh, gets things a little bit more finalized. He's working on that like a mad dog. So, yeah. So, in the meantime, enjoy Victor Harbor Part 2.
Okay, so we've been on this same road now for several hours, and it's really boring. Right now you see all these trees, but it's really flat land. In a lot of spots, it's like traveling across the prairies in Western Canada, which is equally as boring. With this, you keep seeing signs for like fatigue kills, drowsy drivers die. That's really encouraging, isn't it? There's rest stops along the side of the road fairly frequently, but there's really no major towns along here. Most of them are eye blinkers. You go through, they got one little thing sitting there, and that's it. So, yeah, if you're going to drive from Panola to Victor Harbor, be prepared for absolute and utter boredom. And we've been trying to see what's on the radio, but there seems to be only about 2 stations. One of them is a Christian one, and the other one plays music I've never heard of, and if I have heard of it, it's from 40 years ago. Okay, this sort of looks like it's salt flats. We're not absolutely sure. You can see the white part? Not the pipe.
Maybe it's just
Yeah, it could be just scum. I don't know what it is. You can also see here this big pipeline, which has been running along here for a long, long time. It's been right along with us most of the route. I don't know if it's oil or what it is.
it's probably oil or something.
You can see how flat the land is here. In the distance, there's some like low hills. But as far as road trips are concerned, this is not the most exciting one on this section today. As we move closer to Victor
Looks like the
Harbor.
land won't support any trees either. It's all bushes.
Yeah, so it could be salt.
Yeah.
But where's the salt come from?
Wow.
Oh well. Is there pepper too? It's the salt and pepper flats. Okay, just to show you where we started from today, we started down here in Panola, and we've been following this route up here near Nera Court, probably not saying that right, all the way along up here to Keith, and then to Tintinera, and all the way up here, almost to Tellum Bend. But this is the point where we've changed, and we're coming down this little piece of road here. You see where it says Wellington. We're going to go across the top of this lake and over here to, not sure how you say that one either, Strathopine. I'm mispronouncing this really badly. And then we travel down to Victor Harbor. So you can see it's quite a distance, 400 kilometers. And most of it has been very, very straight road and very boring. Very little in between. So if you ever do this, be prepared for it to be boring. Okay, don't always trust your GPS, because this was taking us down. It seemed very logical on the map, the route it was taking us, from the route that Walter had plotted out on Google Maps. But we got down here, and it wants you to take a ferry. Now, it looks like it's a short little ferry ride, a little river thing. But Walter didn't want to chance that. So we're backtracking a little bit, not a lot. It's only a couple of kilometers or so. But it is a little
In
longer
8
route.
kilometers, keep left on Princess Highway.
Okay, bitch, shut up. Anyways, so we're backtracking a little bit, and we're going to take the route that was originally plotted out by Google Maps. I don't know, the ferry kind of thing. We're not sure what that involves and all that, so we're just not going to take the chance. So it's going to take us a little longer, but it's not a big deal. Sometimes it's good to have a map as well as a GPS. What she wanted to do, and it seemed logical at the time, was to take us down here and across here, which is a shorter route than going up and around here and down here. However, what we did not notice on the map was there is a river that runs into this lake right here, and it's at that point where it wanted us to take a ferry. And Walter's not comfortable going on the ferry with a rented car, so we backtracked up to here, and now we are in around here somewhere, and we'll eventually come up to here to this green road, Eastern Freeway, and then down onto this, which was the original plan that Walter had mapped out from Google Maps before. So we're back on track right now. It didn't take us that much out of our way, so not a big deal. But just to let you know, you can't always trust technology alone. Well, now that we're coming closer to Victor Harbor, the scenery has changed a little bit. It's not flat anymore. It's kind of rolling hills, more trees, more greenery, more hairpin turns. Well, not really a hairpin turn, but yeah, so you can see how things change in this country as far as landscape is concerned pretty quickly. And this is Port Elliot, and it's just, we're very close to Victor Harbor, less than 5 kilometers away from it. It's a cute little place. Okay, so we made it to Victor Harbor, and we're outside of the hotel we're staying in. We'll get a picture of it later. We're a little early. Anchorage. And we're a little early, so we can't check out until 2. So we thought we'd have lunch while we're here, so we're getting a couple of pizzas and a couple of beers. And we'll see from there, but here you've got a bit of a view of the ocean. We're supposed to have a balcony, which I'm assuming is what's up there. The balconies don't look like they're really private balconies.
Oh,
They look like a long parasite. Hard to tell from there, but it's okay. We're only here one night. So, it was a bit of a journey getting here, but we're here now. So, and I think we're close to where their little downtown might be, so we can explore that later too. Okay, just had a little accident. There's tomato on the pizza. I picked up one, I bit into tomato, and it just blew up all over Walter on his shirt, his pants. He's not happy about that. Straight me on, I wouldn't be either, but I'm just doing what he would do. I'm laughing. Okay, this is where we're staying, and they're very nice. However, we made reservations for the restaurant inside tonight for 7:30. They do have a special menu, plus you can order off the regular menu. They have kangaroo on it and a lot of seafood, so we won't be having that, so I guess we'll be probably ordering off the regular menu, but I did notice they had a steak on there, so we might have that. Yeah, it'll probably be okay. They seem a little disorganized in the kitchen area, because when I said, what's this, do you have tonight a special menu? And she thought they did, but she had asked the cook because he hadn't written it out yet. So, anyways, it's kind of a neat little place. It's an older hotel. It's got some personality to it. And we do have a private balcony. We're right down there on the very far end, up at the top. So we've got a view of the ocean. So that's kind of nice too.
Okay, so what happened in the past week? Well, we had a pop-up sew day on Saturday. I had record number. At the height of it, about 45 people. That was really great. And it was a fun day, no drama, and lots of talented people showing us their wonderful creations and talking about various things. It's just a very enjoyable environment. And if you've never been to one of my pop-up sew days, they're always on a Saturday, but you never know up until about 5 days before when I'm going to have it. And I'll announce it on here. And those of you on my mailing list will get the Zoom link. They are Zooms. They are not YouTube Lives, and they're not recorded. So if you're on the mailing list, you get your own personal invitation with the Zoom link in that. But for anybody that's not on the mailing list, I put the link in the show notes as well. I don't know when the next sew day is going to be, next pop-up sew day. So stay tuned to this space for an announcement about that at some point in time. I've just recently discovered shorts on YouTube. Now, when I say discover, it means that, yeah, I know they exist. I know what they are, and I never had any interest in doing any. Well, changed my mind. I'm having some fun with shorts. And I'm doing them about, I'm going to start changing my bend in shorts to something that might be a little bit more useful for people. But last week I had a short up about my kitchen cupboard cleanup. And because they're shorts, Walter was videoing it, I couldn't show you the whole thing. So I'm going to insert the whole thing about the kitchen cabinet cleanup. And I know a lot of you are going to say, you were putting yourself in a precarious position, weren't you? Are you trying to break a hip on purpose? You'll know what I mean when you see the video. But thank you to those of you that were concerned about my health and made some suggestions for the next time I clean out my kitchen cabinets. Again, possibly a Lucy move. So here's the little video that I made, or Walter made, of me cleaning out the cabinetry.
So, Stephen has decided a new project today. What are you doing, Stephen?
I'm cleaning out the goddamn cabinets up here that we have stuff we have collected over 30 years that we never use, and everything falls out of the cupboard. So I am going through, I'm organizing stuff that's going to go on the top shelves that I can't reach, which means I can only reach the bottom ones anyways on a good day. And take a look around.
Of all the little goodies.
I started with this cabinet, and I'm thinking I'm just going to organize these cabinets because they have our dishes and our cups and things, right? But then I moved around the corner and found more stuff like, how many escargot dishes does one need? And French onion soup. We have about 10 French onion soup. Most of them are broken in there. And then it moved around here. Now I'm up here over top of the hood of the stove. And it's filthy in here. I'm still scouring it. And then that's going to lead down to the cupboards that's down here because that's where our pantry is, kind of a thing. Canned goods. But then that's going to lead over to that cabinet over there because there's overflow on that. So if this was warmer weather in the summer, I could do what a lot of people do. Put everything out on a table and say, here, 50 cents. Take it all.
Anyway.
So anyways.
This is supposed to be short. How short are they?
About my height. Okay. Enough of this. I gotta get back.
Bye.
So what's coming up? Oh, a colonoscopy. Yeah, that's shitty. Pun intended. Yeah. This time next week, I will be not eating, and I'll be taking the stuff you need to take to flush out your system. And then the next day, I have the colonoscopy. Am I looking forward to it? Well, does anybody look forward to it? If you do, you're sick, to say the least. No, I am not looking forward to it. Do I want one? No. Do I need one? Well, I don't know. My doctor seems to think I should have one because I haven't had one in quite a while. And I'm like, in her estimation, I'm an old fart. And old farts need to have stuff stuck up their bum. So, yeah. I'm going to have this done. And yeah, Walter had one about a year ago as well. I mean, I know that there's nothing to them. I've had them before. I've had a couple in the past, in the last 15 years or so. But I just don't like hospitals. I don't like anything around hospitals. I don't like being poked and prodded. But I guess they tell us we should have this done. It's good. It's a preventative method, preventative thing. Like, I don't have any health issues, you know, thank goodness. So this is just, I guess, a general servicing. Whatever, put me up on the hoist and let's check out my bowels. So, anyways, yeah, fun, right? So, well, that's enough about a colonoscopy. Makes everybody squirm a little bit. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Welcome all the new subscribers, and thank you. And tomorrow, check out the Idiot Quilter, and be sure to check out the video about the 10,000 bash, because that's coming up pretty quickly. And all the details are there about how you go about being part of that. And yeah, other videos towards the tail end of the week for you as well. So I hope you have a great week. I hope it warms up for you if you're in some place where it's been really, really cold. And enjoy life. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.